The City of Sun Prairie Human Resources Department has put together this presentation on interviewing tips to help you prepare for your next interview experience. Whether that interview is with the City of Sun Prairie or another prospective employer, we want you to be well prepared. The first step is to mentally prepare for the experience. There are psychological tricks that are proven to make a difference. The first one is presence in an interview. There are poses that you can do with your body that will help you in your interview in regards to proving that you can do the position with confidence. Take a couple of minutes before any interview and create a high power pose. Stand up, put your arms out, make yourself large. If you're sitting to prepare for the interview, expand your legs and arms, make your presence large. Try to stay away from creating a low power pose of sitting, grabbing your face or neck, crossing your arms or legs, hunching over or looking down. Try it out. Practice these poses and ask a friend or family member to help you with a mock interview. You'll see that creating these high power poses gives your body confidence in the interview. The next part of these tips is come prepared. Make sure that when you interview that you've carefully examined the job description for the position for the company. Reflect and consider why you are interviewing and what your qualifications are, how they meet that job description. Make sure you perform research on the company and the role. Check out the company's websites and pages and try and reflect upon that. Consider your answers to some very common interview questions, which I'll review in a minute. But as you've interviewed in the past, what were some of those interview questions? Practice your speaking voice and body language. As I mentioned, body language does say a lot about you. And it says a lot about you to your own brain. So make sure you do those power poses before you start your interview. Sit up straight. Make a clear speaking voice. If time permits, prepare several thoughtful questions for the interviewers about their company, about the job and its role. Always conduct mock interviews. Practice makes perfect. Common interview questions on this slide show you that the employer is trying to create a comfortable environment where they can find out more about you. But think on prior interviews. Some of these questions may have come to play. Tell me about yourself. How do you handle stress and pressure? Describe your work style. What are your passions? What are your greatest weaknesses? And what motivates you? You should have canned answers for any of these questions that are easily thought out and able to retrieve if any of these questions are asked. This next slide talks about how to answer questions. In today's world, we want to know more about you. We don't do references until you're a final candidate, so interviewing is the first aspect of finding out that information. The best way to answer questions is behavioral interviewing answers. So I'm going to walk through a few, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that. The first one, use specific and relevant examples that clearly demonstrate the required behavior. So if you are asked a question about what you have done, make sure you tell them about a specific example. Don't make things up. Reflect back on prior work experiences, your schooling, teamwork, doing any projects together, as well as any volunteer work that you've worked with other committees and organizations. Use recent behavioral examples to support your interview answers. If you say, I'm a people person, give them an example of what you mean by that. Follow the STAR steps in your behavioral answer. We'll get to that on the next slide, but you're going to go through situation, tasks, action, and results. Stick to the facts, as follow-up questions will soon expose any exaggerations or false answers. The next slide does go through how to answer in a particular format called STAR: situation, task, action, and result. As I go through this, keep in mind an example if you were asked a question about your customer contact experience. Situation: introduce a situation to the employer and set the context of that. So if you were asked about customer contact experience, give them a picture of the event. Set the stage. Describe the situation. Next, describe the task you had to complete, including the expectations and challenges it would involve. Key here is describe tasks you had to complete. Don't say we. If it was your role, own it. The next piece is action. Explain what you did and how you did it. Many times we answer a question with just the action answer. But the best answer to show off your communication skills is set up situation, what your task was, then the action that you took. To wrap everything up, you always want to say what the result was. The end with the results of your efforts, including accomplishments, rewards, and impact. Also, it might be good to reflect on what could have been done in that situation. That would show the employer that you are reflecting upon what you do and you are learning throughout your experiences. The last slide, I would like to take a few moments on giving you a hint on any question that is asked in an interview. Many times you're asked, is there anything else that you would like to add or tell us about yourself? I'm going to tell you how to answer that question. At the end of the interview, always end with success. If you're asked that question, give more information about yourself. Review how you met the requirements of the position. Share your enthusiasm for the organization you're applying for. Or use that time to expand on any of your answers to the previous questions. This is an opportunity to add comments that you wish you would have said in question number 2 or 3. Always at the end, thank the panel interview for the opportunity to apply and interview for that organization. These are just some helpful hints that I've observed over many years of interviewing, and the City of Sun Prairie Human Resources Department thanks you for watching our video.